More insights now into the investigation and this very complicated case. We have the former chief of detectives for the NYPD, who also worked with the NYPD at the time of the murders, Robert Joyce, joining us now.
Robert, thanks for joining us. It appears one of the big decisions, Stacey was just talking about this, that helped lead to an arrest in this case, was the formation of a task force focused on finding the killer. We understand initially investigators in Suffolk County resisted in bringing in outside help, but once the FBI got involved and used their specific technology, that seemed to make a big difference. Can you talk a little bit more about how that might have helped in this case and what else you know about this case in particular?
Sure. David, Lauren, good afternoon. This case, you had to bring the feds in. Kudos to Rodney Harris and the commissioner out there and the whole task force for this case, because they have abilities that local police departments don't have. Even the NYPD. I've brought them in on cases before for data crunching, and their abilities with the new technology on phone analysis is incredible. So you really have to do that. We always thought all along when you followed this case, and we all did, as you go forward, Massapequa was always involved, and the name Massapequa kept coming up, especially with the case of Melissa Bartholomew. So if you solve one of these cases, the Gilgo 4, the ladies who were involved in the burlap pattern, this is the beginning of it. It's not the end; it's the beginning of the case of perhaps beginning of the end, as Churchill would say, to solve all these cases right now. So great work, and it's not over. You just can't go to court with phone data. You need other things. We'll see if they have DNA going forward.
Well, to your point about the possibly solving the case of the Gilgo 4, there are in this stretch of land, there were 9 women found, the bodies of 9 women, a man and a toddler. So what is your sense that they are not connected, that there are multiple serial killers involved here?
Well, we long believe that. There were other people involved here as well. If you look at where these ladies were found, they were all right next to each other. They were actually disposed of, their remains right next to each other, almost like they were right in a quick thing. And then there was others afterwards going down Ocean Parkway. So these 4 were the big ones, and they also had the burlap involved. So you had 2 issues there, geography and as well as the burlap, tying them together. And so if you solve one of these things, you'll solve all 4. And that's how they thought. Those other cases, we'll see. Valerie Mack is very interesting. She was the one from, she was in 2001, I believe. She was last seen. So that's the first case that we see here in this pattern. But we don't know about her yet. She's found further on down Ocean Parkway. These 4 are what matters right now. And I believe it's the Bartholomew case that triggered this investigation right now. We'll know more this afternoon.
Robert, I just got to ask you before I let you go. I know you guys were closely following all of the murders on Long Island, even though you were focused on this city. Can you tell me if the suspect, 59-year-old Rex Heuermann, was ever on your radar at all?
No, he was not to my knowledge at all. Now, that being said, we did have the case on Melissa Bartholomew. She lived in the Bronx, so we had a missing persons case. We assisted early on in anything we can give the Suffolk County Police Department. So that was part of ours. Those pings in Manhattan, we assisted in any way we can. Then it was their case after that. Anytime we had a serial murder arrested, I would call Suffolk County Police Department and let them know we made an arrest. You might want to take a look at it, and they did.
I just had one quick question. In terms of the suspect, what is your sense about him? We understand that he's married, the father of 2 children, has a career that he's quite proud of. He has spoken out on social media about that. What is your sense?
Right now, we'll have to speculate a little bit without knowing a lot about him. You saw him pretty much bragging before on the tape with the French producer, the news producer, about what he did for a living. It's almost narcissistic, and he needs domination to support that narcissism. So that's what I'm looking at right now. When I saw that, I watched it this morning, a little surprised by it. When you look at it in this context, that he would say such things. But it's unnerving now to watch that. So these individuals, they're not particularly remarkable. You look at the disrepair of his home; it looks like a problem there as well. So he was more boastful than actually factual.
All right, Robert. Thanks so much. Robert Boyce, former chief detective for the NYPD.